Good morning, everyone. I'm Cath Holloway, the community agent down in South Somerset today. And my goodness, isn't it a cold one? I'm really glad I'm in my dining room, as you can see. I keep looking out because I fed the birds this morning, and I just wonder how they survive out there in that freezing cold. I mean, we're all sitting in here watching TV, watching what's going on in America. And, at the same time, they're out there shivering. And that's kind of where we are today, really, and what we're talking about, because, well, not about America, but about the fact that it's just so difficult to get outside and get motivated to be fit when the weather's like this. And I mean, during lockdown, we've had Christmas, etc. And I'm really interested to tell you about our guest speaker today, because it is exactly the problem I've had. Since Christmas, I've been going out for walks, but I have not been able to get into my exercise routine. Now, normally I go out and do a run when my daughter is out doing her classes. So I do taxi drive, she goes to her class, I go for a run, and it all works really nicely. So of course, that's not happening. So because her classes aren't happening, I'm having to really force myself to get off the sofa and go and do something. And I have to admit, because I knew I was presenting this today, it has shamed me into getting up. And I did go for a run at 7 o'clock this morning. It was actually really nice, despite being absolutely freezing. Well, it wasn't actually, because I left the house warm, and because I started running, I was then warm. So it was okay. And I enjoyed watching everyone sort of getting up and going to work whilst I was going for a run. It was still hard work. I've got a lot of work to do to get back to my original fitness, but I do feel clean inside, and I feel a bit smug and a bit proud of myself for doing it, but I just feel so much better, and I'm really pleased that I've broken that kind of bogey and got myself out there. Of course, things aren't going to be as easy now that we're in lockdown, and Suzie's here today to talk to us about the sort of things that we can do and exactly how to motivate yourself, how to get up again, and some things to think about while you're doing it. So I'm just going to bring her up and introduce Suzie Love, our personal trainer.
Hi.
Hi, Kath. I was just about to remove you again then. Hi, Suzie. Lovely to have you with us today. Whereabouts do you live, Suzie? Are you local?
I'm in Wedmore.
Wedmore, aha. So yeah, quite a long way from me. We're at opposite ends of the county then. So that it's quite good. We're broadcasting from opposite sides of Somerset at the same time. So, like I said, I've been out walking, which I'm trying to discipline myself to do during the daylight hours so that I can actually get out and get some feel good.
Yes.
I mean, things like the health walks, they're closed for the moment, the GP health walks, but that doesn't need to stop us, does it?
No. So for me, I think we're all under so much pressure at the moment that if you do want to start making changes, don't overly add to that pressure. Just do small things that are going to work towards a healthier lifestyle. If you set yourself a target of running 3 miles every day and you've never run before, number one, you're going to hate it.
Oh, yes.
Only run if you really enjoy it or if there's something really scary chasing you.
I agree totally.
The best thing to do is look at where your starting point is now. So if your starting point is that for the last month, because it's been lockdown, Christmas, cold, whatever, you haven't done anything at all, you can very easily make a change to your fitness and how you feel about yourself. And like you said about your run earlier, you feel great because you've released those feel-good endorphins. So the first thing I would do would be to say to yourself, okay, last week I didn't leave the house. I didn't even get dressed. So this week, at least twice or hopefully 3 times, I'm going to get dressed, or I'm going to choose pajamas that can be worn outside.
Get out of that depressing gown. Take it off.
And I'm going to go for a walk. Now, if you're coming from a starting point of nothing, that is going to make you feel great. If you need to wait until it's not raining, wait until it's not raining, because you're only going to do it again if you enjoy it. If you go force yourself to go out in the pouring rain and you come back and you're sodden and cold, you're not going to want to do it again the next day. So it's got to be something that you're going to like and want to continue with.
Yeah.
If you are somebody that has been going for an occasional walk, then maybe just try and walk a bit further or walk a bit faster. If you're somebody that walks every single day, try adding a bit of sort of speed work to it, some intervals, so where you might walk faster for one lamppost or one field, and then slow down, get your heart rate down again, and then go again a bit faster. Rather than thinking, oh, I'm going to do the whole walk much faster than I normally do, that sort of going slower and quicker is really good for your heart health, because it gets your blood pressure up and down. And the quicker you can get your blood pressure back down to normal, the healthier you will be. If you are somebody that walks a lot already, but you don't want to start running, but you do want to increase the work that you're doing while you're walking, you can get a rucksack and you can fill it with tins or something else heavy. And just by adding some weight to your walk, you're going to be increasing the work that you do. If you do that, have the straps really tight so that the weight's as close to your body as possible, not swinging down by your bum.
Well, that's useful information. Yeah.
So you know, one of the biggest things is that people embark on a new fitness regime and then they injure themselves because they've pushed themselves too far, or they've done something that they're not used to, and they end up twinging something or hurting your back, hurting your knees, and then of course you have to give up, and then you get a real feel of despondence, which is no good at all. January's a rubbish month anyway. We're all in lockdown, we're not seeing anybody. The last thing that anybody needs to feel is like they're failing at something that they've decided to do. So yeah, definitely my main message today, I think, is to make the changes really small and something that you can keep up and enjoy.
And I guess the thing to remember as well is looking at what you're saying about walking, you've shown some really good ways to make sure that walking is a proper exercise, an energetic exercise. And you don't need to be able to run, do you? You don't need to be able to damage your limbs. I mean, the only reason I do it really is because I love that endorphin kick. But I do know if I go up our local hill called Cardiac, for who you can imagine why, I get that kick straight away, because it's a hard graft getting up there.
Yeah.
You don't need to damage your knees and your elbow, your elbows if you're weightlifting. Walking hard and fast is enough, isn't it?
It is. And running is great. If you enjoy running, running is great. It's really good for your heart health. It's really good for your lung capacity. But actually, if you're if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. Okay. There's so many other sorts of exercise that you can do that you might enjoy instead. You know, lots of people, particularly if you're starting from a not particularly fit starting point, is actually that running and making yourself feel sick and go purple. That's not an enjoyable experience for most.
I've done that before. Yeah.
You might think to yourself afterwards, I feel quite proud of myself. But if you wake up in the next morning and you can't move, then, you know, again, that's putting your journey into a healthier lifestyle. It's putting it into a negative, which is no good.
And actually, isn't it the case that, you know, if you do run too fast or too hard, you're actually putting your body back into stress? So instead of it actually enjoying it and it being beneficial, you actually start to lay down sort of brown fat on your tummy again, because you're stressing your body. I don't know if that's
your body starts to hold on to fat, thinking, oh, I might need this. Actually, you know, this is a big thing about one of my other messages is that all of my clients, and I've had really great success with this, I ask them to stop weighing themselves. So anybody that comes to me that wants to lose fat, we measure with a tape measure. Because when you start making changes to your nutrition, which again is something that I think you need to do really gradually, if you put yourself on a punishment diet, they don't work. I know, because I spent about 15 years yo-yo dieting before I stopped that. And the way I stopped that was I stopped weighing myself every day. I got into the habit of weighing myself twice a day sometimes, and then acting on what the scale said. What you need to do, forget about what you weigh, because actually that's, unless you are a competitive boxer or bodybuilder, it doesn't really matter what you weigh. What most people want is what they look like. They want to change what they look like. So a much better way of measuring your success is to use a tape measure or take photographs of yourself. And if you are making a change to your nutrition, make it something that's manageable. Don't cut out huge food groups. Don't cut out things that you really enjoy, because that is a miserable existence. Just have a little bit less of it, you know, and then you won't ever feel like any food is a sin or something that you can't have. And you will just kind of, if you can commit to doing some kind of exercise that, like you said, that gives you the endorphins, then you're going to feel good about yourself today, or today, Cath, aren't you? And you might, instead of reaching for a fourth biscuit, you might think to yourself, well, you know, actually, I don't need that, because, you know, I had two earlier and that was fine, and I felt really good about myself this morning. So yes, that's another thing I would really recommend to anybody that's kind of looking at themselves, wanting to change their shape. Make some small changes to your nutrition. Don't make it a punishment diet. Don't cut anything out completely, and measure yourself instead of weighing. Commit to doing more exercise than you have been. Anything at all is going to make a change. Like you say, just walking. We spoke briefly before I came on about the fact that lots of people throw themselves into online workouts. Online workouts are brilliant. However, unless we're doing Zoom, which is what I do a lot of with my clients, where I can see what they're doing, I can make sure they're not hurting themselves. People that start these online classes quite often go way above their capability, and, you know, 2 or 3 sessions in, they're lying on their back with a bad back or sore knees.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're not being watched, and you know, all of these exercises. It's really important that, you know, somebody's watching what you're doing and you're not hurting yourself.
No, that's really good advice. And I mean, like you're saying, if you work out too hard as well, you can't do anything else for the rest of the day. So you're actually sort of burning off less calories and doing less exercise, because you burned out to begin with, haven't you? So yeah, I think it's quite important to do. But yeah, so if you're talking about online exercises and things, we did have a look at a few that are available, and I'm wondering if there's anything that you've tried that might work. I know I've seen things that I've used, not this winter, but back in the summer when we first went into lockdown. I was using the 1-minute interval timer, so I would do an exercise for a minute, and then you have your 20 seconds rest or something, and then you have another minute and start again. And they worked for me. Of course, different things work for different people, don't they? But is there anything that you've come across that you think are quite good?
So the Tabata app, so what you're talking about is where you do a period of work, then have a period of rest, and then another period of work. They are brilliant. Again, what I mentioned about the walking at a higher pace and then slowing down, that bringing your heart rate up and bringing it back down again is really, really good. It's banded around as high HIIT, which is high intensity interval training. You can get a really good workout done in 8 minutes if you follow one of those, if you go on and download one of those timers. But I would recommend that people start with a 20-second work interval and then 10 seconds rest. Get yourself really out of breath in that 20 seconds, have the 10 seconds to go, and then you can go again. And don't go straight in at 8 minutes, go in at 4 minutes, and just choose something that you feel is getting you out of breath, but that isn't injuring yourself in any way. You know, it can be something simple as just bringing your knees up to your hands whilst you're standing. You're unlikely to really injure yourself doing something like that. But it's about getting your heart rate up, which you say, which in the summer you enjoy doing that. It could also be used on a walk.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good measure, isn't it? Because, like you say, about not following, you know, necessarily a prescribed routine, but actually listening to what your body's telling you and following what your body's asking you to do. And you don't need an app or anything to do that with, do you? You know, you can just feel what your body's saying. So you don't need to spend huge amounts of money on any of this, do you? Suzie, really carry on. I have lost your picture. You have disappeared off screen. I don't know if you need to. Oh, you're coming back. I've got just top of your glasses at the moment, so I'm wondering if you've moved the iPad, or maybe if you drop the screen down a little bit so that we can. No, you've got a really nice wall behind you. Oh, that's a little bit better. And then just that's it. And then just no, you've gone again.
I don't know what it is.
Oh, somebody says that they can see you okay. So it must be me then. So I do apologise, everyone. In that case, that's good. It's just I'm talking to the wall at the moment and a little curl of your hair. So you're better now. I can see you down below a little bit better. So that's good. Brilliant. So sorry, now that I have just completely interrupted that. So we were talking about sort of costs, weren't we? And that you don't need to have gadgets. You can actually just listen to what your body is saying. I mean, is there anything that you think you do need to spend the money on? I'm thinking trainers or things like that.
So if you were going to run, it's really important to have a good pair of trainers. Unfortunately, that is something that particularly the more mature of us would really need to have fitted. That doesn't mean that they're really expensive. What can happen is that the really expensive shoes with a lot of air in them sometimes aren't giving the support we need at the right place.
That's interesting. Yeah, I have to admit, I did use I did buy a very expensive pair of trainers myself, and sort of grimaced at the cost of them and got them fitted. But that was about 4 years ago, and I know I shouldn't be advertising the fact that it was 4 years ago and I'm still wearing the same trainers. But before I did that, I was getting pain in the tops of my feet, and sometimes it would be going all day, and they couldn't find anything wrong with my feet. So I sort of grudgingly went back and bought a very expensive pair of trainers. But 4 years on, it was so worth it.
Yes. So the other thing with trainers is if they've got a lot of sponginess in them, then if you tend to roll out on your feet a bit, that as they roll out, they will make an indentation, which will make them roll out even more. And then you might end up with your knees being compromised every time you hit the ground. Then you'll end up with bad knees. Then you'll end up with bad hips, and then you'll get a sore back as well. From exercising at home point of view, bare feet, definitely. Yeah. So particularly anywhere you might be doing, if you're squatting or you're just lifting things up, I'll go on to the back position in a minute with that. The firmer your base is and the more that your feet can connect to the floor, the better. It's just you need a really good solid base.
Oh yeah, that's really interesting actually. Yeah, because using your feet is bare feet. It's really important, isn't it? We don't, and it's free.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't complain about that.
That come to me, they come in their really nice, expensive Nike Air trainers that cost them over £100, and we take them off. We take them to do the workouts. And actually, occasionally, we'll have started something, and I'll be looking at them thinking something's not quite right here, and then I'm like, hang on, we've got the shoes on.
Yeah, interesting. And I suppose that helps with our balance as well, and for helping us with, especially sort of older people, reducing falls, because your body's able to detect its own position, isn't it?
That's right. And actually, we've spoken a bit about running and walking and cardiovascular exercise, but actually strength work is really, really important. It's one of the main preventative measures for osteoporosis now. And like you say, the stronger you are, the less likely you are to fall over. Brilliant. So at home, things that you can do to increase your strength is just, literally just pick things up or walk around carrying a bit of extra weight. But if you're going to do that, it's really important to have a really strong back position. So I'm going to jump up now and show you what a strong back position is.
Perfect. Hannah, if you could just let us know if the camera position is okay, because obviously it's not working for me.
So my battery is just telling me it's about to run out.
Brilliant.
So what we want with the back position is to be really nice and upright. That is no good. Okay. So when you stand up, really pull your shoulder blades back, stick your chest up. Then when you pick anything up, think that you're getting your legs to do it. So I've got this kettlebell. I'm going to pick it up with my legs. I'm not picking it up with my arms. I'm using my legs to pick it up. Mm-hmm. Keeping that back really flat, which is completely different to this, which is going to hurt my back. All right, so really get your legs to do the work. Sorry, the camera angle wasn't brilliant there, was it? But yeah, so always think flat back, shoulders back.
And I think this is, like you said, this is the important bit where a personal trainer really comes into its own if you do want to do things at home. So initial money that you would spend to begin with just to get things like that positioning correct.
Yes.
So important. And then, you know, longer term, it will save you a fortune in going and getting your back cricked afterwards.
So my Zoom sessions, you know, we cover that sort of thing. We do half-an-hour sessions. We'll do a little bit of warm-up, a bit in sort of 10 minutes in the middle where we're just doing some strength work, and then a little bit of a sort of finisher with a kettlebell or whatever people have got at home. And you know, I'm able to see what everyone's doing. I'm able to say, hang on a minute, move your foot to the right a bit or whatever. It's a really good investment. I know it's a strange time to be advertising my skills, because I can't have anybody come to my lovely gym, but I can help them work out at home as well.
That's it, and having someone to be able to just see your body position and help you to feel what correct looks like. Whereas if you're just looking at somebody on a screen, you don't know if you've actually got that. I find that particularly with Pilates, you know, trying to get that sort of getting you back in the right position, etc., can be quite tricky unless you've got someone who's actually teaching you those skills. So yes, it's really helpful way of.
Is if it's hurting, stop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when you're picking, if you're doing any exercises and you can feel it in your back, don't do it, because you know what I you know, it's a bad back isn't the last thing we all need at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're doing exercises and you're using your legs properly and keeping your back in that really strong position, it shouldn't hurt.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the things I have to admit that I'm really bad at, and I'm trying to discipline myself, is stretching afterwards.
Yeah.
I know that can cause, well, I know it's doing damage to my hamstrings because my legs don't go straight very easily anymore. I have to make myself do it. And I think is that something that you know, could tell us a little bit about as well?
So stretching is really, really important. It's really aids your recovery. So it means that should you want to do some exercise again the next day or the day after or the day after that you're going to be able to do that much better. Massage is also really good. What happens when you exercise is that the lactic acid that you create causes crystals to build up in your muscles. And that's what gives you that sort of achy feeling. Mm-hmm. And you know, gives you that, I'm really stiff today feeling. So the more you stretch or massage, the more you disperse those crystals. For people, particularly beginners, you want to be looking at spending at least a quarter of the time that you've exercised then on your recovery. So stretching.
Oh my goodness, that's telling me off.
Massaging. These foam rollers are really good. Sort of really press out your you know, where it's sore. And warm bath. That sort of anything that might relax you. Okay. You will probably find, Cath, that you're the same as me, that you get tightness in your hips after you've run.
Yeah.
So the more stretching you can do for that, the better. And again, just think about your back position. And when you see people get back from a run and they do this. Just be for a minute, not a nanosecond.
Yeah, that sounds like me. Yeah. Quick stretch, that's me done.
Oh, a proper minute, not a pretend minute.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's a really good advice, and that's one I'm am going to try and be a bit more disciplined, and I'm going to keep those words of yours in my head and make myself do it a bit more, because once I've come, it's like, oh, right, that's it, shower.
Yeah. Well,
thank you very much. No, that's really helpful. And I suppose actually talking of stretching, so, you know, a lot of us at the moment are working from home, and I'm trying to be disciplined to go out for this lunchtime walk to get some sunshine and just stretch out my back. Because I do tend to get it in the back of my shoulders. I think I'm slightly short-sighted when I lean into the computer. I don't know if you've got any advice on,
Yeah, there's really, really good exercise for that. I just need to find a piece of kit to show you.
Oh, fabulous. I'm trying to do things like every time a phone call comes, I stand up to do a phone call, or my husband says he's doing press-ups every time he's on where we're buffering or something.
You get a broom handle.
Ooh.
Your hands really wide on it. Hold your tummy in, squeeze your bum, shoulders back, and just pass the handle backwards and forwards.
Oh.
Now that, some people will only get to there. That's fine. Just keep doing it. And then you drop it behind and bring it up as well. If you can do 50 of those every day, it gets blood, oxygen, nutrients into those shoulders that have been like that all day, and it will really help with your posture, and it will really loosen everything up.
That is a good one.
Like a massage. It really does make you feel better.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Well, we're coming down to the end of our time. So is there, if you wanted to maybe tell us a little bit more about what you can offer, and then sort of round up anything that we've missed out on that you were keen to talk to us about, that would be fantastic.
Okay. So I discovered weight training about 4 years ago. I was very overweight. I'm a mother of 4, 49 in a couple of weeks, and it transformed my life. Initially, I started because I wanted to lose the fat, but very quickly it became not about that. It became about being stronger. And it really does make you feel good when you can pick up something heavier than you could last week.
Yeah.
It does, and it follows you out of the gym. You know, that feeling of, you know, oh yeah, I did really well today. Like you say, it just makes you feel good for the rest of the day.
Oh,
so
definitely.
That although 46 is quite a strange time to become a personal trainer, I decided that, you know, my understanding as a mum of 4 meant that I kind of like would be able to empathise with people a lot better. Obviously, my clients aren't limited to people of my age. I have competitive sailors, teenagers, all sorts of people come to me, and I absolutely love my job. Really, really.
Wow.
Yeah. Everybody that comes, you know, we just have a really good fun, and everybody really enjoys what they're doing. Sometimes not at the time, if I'm pushing particularly hard, but it depends what everybody's goals are. If you're wanting just to feel better about yourself, then that's something I can, you know, it's my job to make sure that anybody that comes to me enjoys what they're doing and then makes it part of their lifestyle.
And would you help people to work out what those goals are?
Exactly. So that would be the very first, in the first session, it's really just finding out what people's goals are. And then, as I said, it's my job to make sure that they get to those goals as quickly as possible. Usually they come once or twice a week to me and then have homework that they do at home. Obviously now I'm on Zoom, and the type of workout is very different because they haven't got access to all my kit. I've got a rower, a bike, and all the weights. They're only able to do the stuff that they've got kit for at home. But my regular clients don't want to not have their sessions with me, so we just continue and do what we can with what they've got at home.
Oh, fantastic. And it does become addictive, doesn't it? I mean, you know, it's once you've started and you've felt what it feels like, it's something you just want to do over and over, don't you? And at your level, because everyone isn't going to be going out doing huge weights or whatever. It's about finding what makes you feel good, doesn't it? And being proud of your own achievement rather than looking at other people and maybe setting unobtainable goals.
Yes, I have two 75-year-old ladies that come to me, and they both just come for half an hour twice a week for just some strength work. They wanted to feel stronger. And they're great. Both of them are great. You know,
wow.
it's tailored to what people need. And like I say, I want people to really enjoy what they're doing, because I really enjoy what I've
and
done.
Actually, now the Stay Strong and Steady exercises that are done by Age UK, that's obviously not going ahead at the moment. So it would be a really good way for people to maintain the exercises and their strength by just maybe popping in and seeing you once every so often for a technique, you know, sort of check, I suppose. Is the word,
over Zoom, that's no problem. As you know, as long as I can easily see what people are doing, it works really well over Zoom. And they, you know, they can pretend they've gone to get something and have a little breather, which they can't do.
Yeah, that is true. And getting onto Zoom, because I know some people still find that a bit scary, but actually, if you send an invite, it's quite straightforward, isn't it?
And I'll admit it, Cath, I was scared of doing it too. You know, it is nerve-wracking to try something different, but it's, you know, today I was really nervous today coming to talk to you, but like you, as you said to me before we started, you know, it's just that little bit of just before you start, and then you're completely fine.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. That's been so motivating. I really appreciate all of those tips. And for me, I think the thing that's really important is, well, two things really. One, that you do it at your own pace. You know, you don't push yourself, you enjoy it, and you stick to that enjoyment level instead of feeling that guilt factor that you've got to make yourself hurt, because that's what the opposite of what you do.
Exactly.
And you actually don't need to pay loads of money. You don't need to have kit apart from a pair of trainers if you're running. You don't need a special kit. There are so many things around the house that you can use. I love your idea about the backpack. That hadn't occurred to me. I think it's a super idea. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming on today. It's really, really lovely to have chatted with you. So do have a we've got that Susie's details up there, but you can also have a Google and see what sort of online courses are going. Joe Wicks is still going, I know, and there's online Zumba and things that you can do. And we talked about the HIIT stuff, but you know, if it's something you've not done before, definitely seek some help from Suzie so that you make sure you're doing it correctly. And also, like we said, just every so often dropping in perhaps to just make sure you're still doing it correctly is really important. So we're going to sign off. Thank you again, Suzie. And I'm not sure, what have we got on there tomorrow, Hannah? I don't know if you want to tap on and let us know what's happening tomorrow, so everyone can tune in at 11 o'clock again. But otherwise, we're going to sign off. So thank you again, Suzie. It's been lovely to chat with you. And honestly, I'm feeling all motivated and ready to get out and get going again. So thank you very much for that. Brilliant. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.